Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bart Winkler. Welcome into the Winklerverse. Grant Bills alongside Paul Immig is here. We've got your edition of as we close out January. 2 teams left in the Super Bowl. NBA trade deadline next week.
Mm-hmm.
We could do a trade deadline live show.
Well, Grant will be unavailable.
Well, we could.
Let's do it.
I might be unavailable too. When's the deadline? 3?
On which day? Tuesday?
It's next Thursday. I
Thursday.
think it was like February 28th.
No, it's always
next week.
Pre-All-Star break. Yeah.
Time. Where does it go?
You know, it's crazy to think it's already week 21 of the NFL season.
I would like to, I've got this podcast. I've got the national show. I think I talk more about the national show on this podcast. I just feel weird when I'm like, hey, by the way, I was into the Winklerverse this morning, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would like people to, if you're ever going to listen to the Bart Winkler show on the Infinity Sports Network, I'm very proud of the work I did on Tuesday night.
I went to that hour of the show so I could hear you teach a national audience.
So what my whole thing was, and I said, yeah, I'm a Packer fan, so obviously it's probably why I'm bringing it up, but the Chiefs are about to win maybe their 3rd straight Super Bowl, and of course the Packers have won 3 NFL championships before in a row. Now, the first one was just they had the best record, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then they won. And then the next times where it was the 2 Super Bowl, we all know this.
We know it.
But in the research, the Lions have 4 NFL championships. The Browns were the team of the 50s, and they have 4 NFL championships. And I don't understand. And people are calling, some people are like, oh, well, it didn't matter so long ago. That's the NFL.
Yeah.
Baseball, we talk about the Yankees' 27 titles. The Celtics raised banner 18. I don't think enough people understand that the Celtics played in the 60s when there were 8 teams in the league. I don't think that people understand that. I just don't understand why the NFL doesn't, they'll say, oh, it's the 209th meeting of Packers-Bears. They'll say, oh, these guys are in the Hall of Fame. But yet when it comes to the people that actually won the title for the first 45 years, is it because one year it was the Pottsmouth or wherever the fuck? Is because one year it was the Canton Bulldogs and these teams don't exist anymore? It just is weird that a league that seemingly does an okay job with history pretends like nothing was ever decided or settled prior to the Super Bowl. It'd be like if the college football playoff or college football suddenly said everything before the BCS, we don't that doesn't count. Sure, it's your first playoff title, but there's still other titles that were won. So I think I did a good job going through that argument.
Yeah.
But I'm left with no answer because I don't know why the NFL. I think if I had a one-on-one with Roger Goodell, that might be the first thing I would ask him.
I think it should be. And I think your callers reinforced the main points that. So first off, you had a couple
I had a couple
retired
1967.
You had a couple retired age folk who were like, I remember. But the one caller you had, who was, younger, made the point of well, it was just so long ago. And what that reinforces is, yeah, you've been taught that it doesn't matter in the NFL.
So what's going to matter 100 years from now? These?
Right. Apparently not. Well, and I think that's your point. It's it's if the league tells you, the fan, that it matters, you'll say, of course those Celtics titles and those Lakers titles and Yankees titles matter. Of course they do. Because the leagues are saying, embrace this. And the NFL says, the league didn't actually start. They're actualing the fan to say pretty dumb.
Well, how much when the Celtics were winning the title last year, how many times did we hear banner 18? It was the marketing campaign. It wasn't like a footnote.
They won 11 of them out of round robin tournaments.
And Bart, I think your one caller even said something like, well, there were only 12 teams in the league when those titles were won. You're like, that was more actually than what there were in these other leagues when we were proclaiming them to be.
Oh, you couldn't get. I fended off everything. You couldn't get on me on anything.
Well, because and this is not. And honestly, you have a different platform than I do. I don't personally care what random guy thinks in Boston about the Packers titles. But what I do have a problem with is like the principle of, to your point of asking Roger Goodell a question, why are you not embracing the history of the sport, the professional league, albeit whatever you wanted to call it before it was the Super Bowl, when these other leagues do? Like, what is the holdup? Is it because you don't want to talk about AFL? Like, what is the disconnect? Why are we
Because there's
saying,
too many, like there was the Racine Legion and the Milwaukee Badgers, and it's too complicated to figure that out?
to your point, I mean, it's like pre-ABA merger. Like, the Spurs were not in the NBA. Like, well, okay, so I don't know.
There's nothing that like a, by old, I mean, you know what an old person is. There's nothing that an old person likes more than when a younger person
Yeah.
is trying to talk about history.
Well,
Just like the same way we like when Grant brings up something from the 90s.
yeah, right. I think only a Wisconsin born and bred national radio host would bring up the topic, but
And do a whole show on it.
but it needs to be, it's not, again, this is not even like, well, I'm so upset that random guy sports fan doesn't accept the Packers. I don't care. But on a matter of principle, you have, like, Bart, you can't lose your argument. Like, to your point, like you fended off every single thing that could be said because there's not an answer. There's no right answer to like push away the narrative. If I don't care, then I don't care. Like, if you random sports fan just says, well, it doesn't matter to me. Okay. Like, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But you can't tell me then why the titles of the Yankees, Celtics, Lakers, etc. should matter. You cannot choose one or the other. You either care, even though it was before you were born, or you don't because you weren't born yet. You can't say, well, the NFL, they don't really embrace it, so I don't. Like, if that's your response, like, good for you. What can anyone do about that?
Should I do a Royal Rumble post-game show?
Yeah.
Will you? That's a Sunday night, so you won't be on
Saturday.
Saturday night, so you won't
Early
be on.
start time too, because there's a UFC fight, I guess. And now that they're buddies, they don't want it to overlap.
Is that this weekend?
Yeah,
Oh
Saturday.
yeah, it's always in between. It's always Pro Bowl weekend, right?
Yeah, and it dips into February in a rare.
By the way, I do think every year or every few years, there's that one player named to the Pro Bowl where you're like, oh, and that's why it shouldn't matter. Like, it shouldn't be like, this player is a 6-time Pro Bowler. And that year, Russell Wilson, Pro Bowler 2025, and Drake May, quite frankly, though I like Drake May, 2 of your 3 AFC quarterbacks in the Pro Bowl are Russell Wilson and Drake May. If you're not an all-pro, I don't want to hear it. It's just nothing. It's nothing. And they're proving it's nothing.
Yeah.
You can't have Russell Wilson.
I don't even like turn it on. The skills competition I might turn on Thursday just because my kids always like, now I have to tape the late Bucks game so you can come home and watch them.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Oh, we are in it.
Wow.
But so I'll turn that on Thursday, but I'm not going to like watch it on Saturday. I'll go touch grass or something. Speaking of grass and other related products, I'd like to tell you about Happy Place Hemp. Promo code is Bart, 25% off each and every order at happyplacehemp.com. I am a record. This might be a post-COVID record. I haven't had a drink in 10 days. But that doesn't mean I haven't had my gummies. You get the THC, you get the CBD, the CBN. The seltzers are really good. Those, are a nice substitute. And also, they help you feel good. So a nice way to relax maybe after the Royal Rumble and just kind of like fade away into the night. Got some good sleep, too, when I do that. HappyPlaceHemp.com. The promo code is Bart, 25% every order you get off. So even the first one, if you just go some sampler packs, and then if you get a bigger order, doesn't matter. It's 25% off as long as you put in the promo code BART right there at checkout. It's not like Ticketmaster where you have to put it like at the very first time you open the page, which still bothers me because I could have had half off SmackDown tickets. Promo code BART right at checkout, 25% off your order. All right. We've got Paul Emig as the master of ceremonies. Some would call that the MC. Ah, Jesus. A little bit of tinkering on the Dan Shaney YouTube. That Dan Shaney, the insurance he has, the insurance companies were like, we gotta give you a little boost to your pay. And I said, Dan, I don't know. He goes, I found you a new one. Just like that. Dan Shaney.
I took my Dan Shaney can koozie to the Euchre statue 2 Saturdays ago. That was my koozie of choice because I didn't have a Brewers one. And I'm like, well, it felt weird publicly. Just everyone was drinking a beer, but I thought I needed a koozie. So I stood there with my Dan Shaney YouTube stream koozie. It doesn't say YouTube on it, but
so a bunch of people just stood around and drank Miller Lights.
Yeah, it was cool.
Did they all explode?
I don't know. I wasn't there before it started exploding. I was there Saturday before it got really cold.
I got a morbid thing to say.
Oh boy.
Sure.
So they're putting those there in memorandum. Right?
In memoriam, yes.
Yeah. That too.
I let it go.
So they're putting those there in memorabilia. But at some point, someone's got to clean it up.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad.
It is.
Anyway.
The folks who were drinking the beers, there was a garbage can. People were walking away and throwing away their empties. That was nice.
But I mean, can you just leave an alcoholic product out like that? Is it not the brewer's responsibility then for, someone
from the brewers cleaned it up? What are young kids going to wander in from the highway and accidentally drink alcohol?
Not accidentally. They might make it part of their journey.
Hey guys, I know where we can score some free booze. That's a Midwest Curb episode.
Oh, dude, I bet you for sure. For sure. For sure.
I know, Grant,
16-year-old kids in the middle of the night that just for sure there were. What a score.
And what an awesome memory that they'll get to have that bothers almost no one as long as they don't,
Wait, Bart, is this your first moment thinking of this possibility?
Yeah, I didn't think that I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad I'm here for you.
Wow. Where can we get some beer? Dude, I got the perfect place. Your statue, 3 a.m. tonight.
It's like the Curb episode when Larry needs flowers, so he takes them from Marty Funkhauser's mother's memorial. Yeah. And he was right. There were a ton of flowers. Like no one was going to miss them. She's already dead.
Good, yeah.
Still.
Yep. Fun.
Well, what do we got, boys?
All right, I'm going to do some NFL topics because that's what's on my mind right now. So that's what we will do. There's nothing Packers, is there? Like now, today.
I mean, you can gripe about Bisaccia or you could talk about Getsy.
Yeah, Luke Getsy. All right, we don't know who the
receiver is always fun. That can kill an hour of phone calls.
Do they need a number 1 wide receiver?
The Chiefs don't.
That's true.
Just sign Cooper Kupp and call it a day.
Well, he's not available yet.
Well, he will be.
He could become available. We don't know who the Saints will hire. But either way, the Cowboys lost the head coaching search offseason process. Or regardless of what the Saints do. Probably Kellen Moore. But regardless of who it ends up being, the Cowboys come out as the L this offseason with the coaching search. Or
And
the good news is this does tie the local angle because you can talk about McCarthy and people like Mike McCarthy and all the other. Sorry, you go ahead.
Oh no, you know what I said last night?
What did you say last night?
And I'm going to show you on the YouTube. Is Liam Cohen?
Yes.
He looks like me if I go in one of those county fairground fun mirrors.
Like it stretches you more in from like a circle into like an oval.
So I said, it's like looking into a mirror, a really, really fun mirror. He stretches the face a little bit.
Yeah, he's got
He's got better hair than I do. Holy shit.
Is he young? How old is he?
I think he's younger. I think he's 39.
He's
I mean, we don't know what a lot of these guys are gonna do. We don't know what they're gonna look like. I think the Cowboys one feels uninspiring, but if you're a Cowboys fan, you're keeping some consistency in an offense that was good the last couple of years.
I mean,
sure.
Was it?
That's what
with Dak and yeah,
it was. Yeah.
What were their DVOAs on offense?
I think Ben Johnson's going to be an absolute fucking clown show.
Well, you need him to be because you've put your reputation on the line for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
That Ben Johnson won't be good. You've staked your reputation on this.
I think the Saints are losing. The Saints are going to lose.
They do feel like they're, no matter what they do, they can say they didn't settle. The Saints are settling. I think the Cowboys settled, but I know the Saints are settling.
Do you think the Saints would have hired McCarthy, or McCarthy said, I'm withdrawing because he doesn't want the Saints job?
Again, not knowing the answer to that question, but I would say McCarthy said, I want the following things or I walk. And they said, well, we can't do all those things. So unfortunately, goodbye.
The former, not the latter. Okay.
With every team, you can still I can say this situation's bad. And if you're a fan of those teams, you can argue against it. And some might be a stretch more than others, like Jacksonville. You can still be like, hey, we got Brian Thomas and Trevor Lawrence. It needs just some stability.
Yeah.
Division stinks.
With the Saints, it's like, what do you have that's good? Do you have a good quarterback? No. Do you have a good offense? No. Do you have a good owner? You do not. Do you have a good culture right now? No. Is the salary cap in your favor? It is not.
Terribly so.
So whoever gets this job is essentially auditioning for their next job.
If every NFL coaching job was available, is the Saints the worst one? Again, taking into account salary cap, ownership, current roster.
Yes, because I think the Raiders were slightly better because they're in Vegas with a new stadium. And I do think they want him. But like, Mark Davis is just an idiot. Like, he needs someone. Maybe Brady will be perfect. Apparently, he's just in control now, according to reports. That franchise, when it comes to getting to the playoffs and winning a Super Bowl, feels equally hopeless. But I think some of their amenities and some of the details about Vegas is a little bit better than New Orleans. So yeah, I think New Orleans is the bottom.
I would take the Vegas job before the New Orleans job. How about you, Bart?
Yeah, I'd take Vegas. I don't think Pete Carroll, they don't expect him to win a Super Bowl. They just want him to get the culture fixed.
Yep, totally.
Smart, I think.
Yep. So the Saints then lost the offseason coaching search? I know they haven't hired the person yet, but
I think so. Okay. Probably. Mm-hmm. The Cowboy, I want to feel bad for Brian Schottenheimer because everyone's so sick of Jerry and the way he does stuff. Yeah. And Schottenheimer's going to take the brunt of it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Jerry's lost his marbles. Look at this asshole he just hired. You know what I mean? Like, maybe Schottenheimer will be fine, but he hasn't called plays in forever. It's not like he's been a part of a burgeoning young offensive system that's on the cutting edge.
Why does Jerry keep saying glory hole as if there's not another meaning to that?
Does he think there is? Like,
apparently it's some oil term.
Yeah.
Oh.
But he's saying glory holes as if
like sunshine and
as if we all know, oh, glory hole, that means success in the oil field, not getting a blowy in a fucking gas station.
No, because I read the whole Wikipedia on my show last night. It is thing in oil, but it would make way more sense if he's referring to a glory hole that you insert yourself into. Like a glory hole is like this weird technical, like you would think the way he's using it. Oh, a glory hole must be when you finally strike a rich vein.
He must mean the gas station way.
I kind of think he does.
He can hide behind the oil term.
Yeah, he's basically like, look, we're just looking for sunshine and happy endings. And does he mean happy endings like he wants a good fairy tale closure? No, he wants a happy ending.
It's like if someone calls you the slur that starts with an F, and you're like, what the hell? And they're like, hey, in Britain, it means a cigarette. And you're like, yeah, but that's not at all how you're saying it. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same situation. Sorry, that analogy's a little too hardcore, but I think it fits. A little grim. Yeah, Saints probably lost.
Saints.
Aaron Glenn, do we like Aaron Glenn?
I think Aaron Glenn is a good hire there. I think he's the right hire.
But why do they keep hiring defensive coaches?
But I just wish Aaron, like, the thing with Aaron Glenn is sometimes these coaches get in there and they're like, instead of being like, I'm confident that we can do a good job. I'm gonna work hard. I'm confident. I like some of these. I like a group of guys. I feel good. I'm excited for this journey. But instead, we're the New York Jets. We're winning. Like, back off sometimes.
Like 48 hours ago, you were a lion.
Under promise and over deliver. Your life will find so much more success, and you'll be so much more heralded by other people if you under promise. If you exceed set a low bar for yourself,
Yeah.
It's been what I've been doing my entire career.
Well, your boy Liam Cohen if he wins like 5 games, they're gonna be like, well, that was better than the Duval.
Duval.
But we should.
The video's way worse too.
Sounds like a serial killer at your bedroom door in the middle of the night.
We should probably expound upon what I texted you guys, which is like the social media folks of these teams are setting up these nerds to look like nerds. Like Aaron Glenn is going to do perfectly fine in his press conference. Dan Campbell is going to do perfectly fine in his introductory press conference. Liam Cohen and Ben Johnson, if you don't just let them talk about X's and O's and you try to like, hey, can you hold like a selfie video and then turn around and then like the whole staff is behind? Can you do something and they kind of say something cool, say something fun? They're going to look like imbeciles because they're nerds, which I say completely affectionately as I refer to myself as one. Like, you're not going to come across cool in the social media sense of the word. The only way you're going to come across cool is if you do the Aaron Glenn and you're like, we're the fucking New York Jets. Oh, don't tell anyone I was a Lion yesterday. Like, you just I don't know. They shouldn't do that. I really like they want the social media content, but the Liam Cohen hiring was a big deal for Jacksonville. They swiped him from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who very much wanted him, an in-state team. And then you make him do this stupid thing, and you make it, and now like you're like, oh, Liam Cohen, like he's still a bright guy that you made look like a fool.
Put it this way: 2 weeks ago, if you had told Jacksonville Jaguar fans that they were getting Liam Cohen, they would have been over the moon.
Of course,
and because of the way that it was presented at the press conference, a lot of it is his fault. Like, don't be a fucking loser. But now they're like, we're gonna win 5 games. You know what I mean? Like, how do you go from that to that? It's just it's a presentation thing.
You know who can straight fuck off right now? Bill Belichick. He suggested renaming the Lombardi Trophy to the Brady Trophy.
I saw that.
Now, even if it's in jest or whatever on McAfee's bro show, I don't get it. Like, you're a coach. You're highly you want to talk about someone that honors history. You want to rename the Lombardi Trophy for the Brady Trophy?
You know how I read those quotes? Not Brady. Belichick is this egomaniacal, just what's the word I'm looking for? Just petty, just a real snake, right? I read in his comments where he's like, "Look, as a coach, I'm at the control of my players. You can't win without the players." And he lists off all these players. To me, that was Belichick messaging. Well, look, when I had good players in New England, all we did was win, but then I stopped getting good players. What do you want me to do? How can I be expected to win with Mac Jones? And so to me, that was like him almost removing blame from how south it went in New England at the end. The problem is he was also picking the players. You know what I mean? Like he was also the GM in charge of the players. So I don't really know if it works, but that I almost read that as, well, Jesus. I mean, even I'm one of the greatest coaches of all time. I can't do it without the players. That's how I was reading that message.
We need to get in media. We need to de-Schragerfy predictions. Okay.
Say more.
Because I saw somebody, way too early, 12-team playoff prediction for college.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina's in there. North Carolina ain't going to the playoff next year. Okay? They're not. Belichick or not. The Schrager is, I don't know, guys. I talked to I talked to Sean Payton the other day, and it sounds like they really like what's going on in Denver, and I'm going to take them to win the AFC West. Remember when Good Morning Football was like, are we coming back? And everyone's like, do we give a fuck?
Yes, I do remember that.
I do remember that.
I don't know who you're going to be hobnobbing with out there in the Super Bowl, Grant, so I don't want to. You might come back best friends with Peter Schrager next week.
Well, maybe he'll talk about me on the air. He loves talking about his best friends, Sean McVay and Cliff Kingsbury, and I don't know.
I talked to Sean McVay. I texted Sean McVay literally in the commercial break. We're texting. I could show it to you. I got his number.
Dude, Cowherd's been pulling a lot of that shit too. Just more and more, the frequency with which he'll say stuff like, well, I had dinner with a general manager last week. I was just texting with someone. Cowherd, I love Cowherd. He has started to realize how connected and how good he is. You know what I mean? When he's a podcast where he's talking about like, anytime I come up with a funny line, I'll write it down. It's like, I can appreciate that. But when you say the Bears, Chicago, that job is politics and potholes. It's like, that's not as fucking brilliant as you think it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like anytime I think of a funny line, I'll write it down. I don't know. I love
politics and potholes.
Yeah.
Was that it? Was that his real thing?
No, he said that, the other week when he was talking about the Ben Johnson hire. But I hear him, on with Russillo or whatever. When sports talkers get too self-aware, that's when they start to lose me.
If I had Coward's slot and TV time, and I did the whole thing about history of the NFL, that would be the national conversation for a fucking week. That's a great topic.
He's a tone setter.
Great power, great responsibility.
Instead, I'm trying to figure out what my Bartle meter is going to be tomorrow.
It's the same issue with stand-up comedians. They get too successful and rich. They get too self-aware. You know what I mean? Then they start doing podcasts with each other where they start stroking each other off, or the Always Sunny podcast. It's like, oh, you guys, I thought you were like poor drunks from Philly who cobbled together this TV show, and now I watch this podcast, and you're all looking back.
Should we start rewatching MmHmm's from a year ago and then doing a podcast rewatch?
Yes.
I got it. Like that industry, where you rewatch, I mean, I don't know. It's nice that I don't know. It's like, is it needed?
No, none of it's needed, but
yeah, no.
Jaleel White on the next episode of
90s
Family
World.
Matters recap.
Yeah.
I remember this episode. Yeah, they made me 3 inches tall. It was crazy. It was the first time we did Stefan, and the ladies love Stefan.
Interesting.
We had one daughter that disappeared.
Wait, who did?
I think they had a daughter that they kind of like wrote out of the show.
Family Matters did?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's 90s trivia I didn't know. Easy segue to the Detroit Lions. The Lions lost way too many important coaches and will suffer quite a bit as a result next season. Or
because the Eagles just did what the Lions are trying to do with new coordinators.
It's the right counter.
But because I got a very flash in the pan feel about the Detroit Lions.
Interesting. How so?
I think they missed their window. I think it's over.
They probably missed their window.
Yeah, probably. Those aren't necessarily the same thing, though. Like to think that the operation's going to fall apart.
No, they'll win 10, 11 games. They might win the North next year, even.
So you don't think they're going to have a San Francisco 49ers fallback, where you go from the Super Bowl to being not even playoff contention?
No, but I think they're going to be a lot more Buffalo Bills than they are Kansas City Chiefs.
Over under 10.5 Lions wins next year.
Well, I'd probably take the over.
Over under 11.5.
I'm going to say 11.
Okay. I was trying to see where I was going to land you. Okay.
I'm going to say
I always start at 10 and then I work from there, typically add a win or subtract loss. I always start at 10 or 11.
But 11, I mean, again, when you're talking 15-2, good luck.
The NFC North schedule is not going to be as cake as it was a year ago, first of all.
Right.
So they're all losing 2 or 3 games.
Wait, what? Well, actually, let's say this. Vikings over under 8.5 wins.
I think Vikings win 9. I think Packers win 9. I think Lions win 11. I think Bears win 6.
Wow. Okay.
Bears under the 8.5.
So it's a 500 conference then.
Yeah.
Which would be a big step back for the division.
Do you guys realize a team that's lost to Kirk Cousins in the regular season has never won a Super Bowl?
Say that one more time. If you
lose to Kirk Cousins in the regular season, you've never won a Super Bowl. And the Eagles have lost to Kirk Cousins this year.
Huh.
Would you like to know my Super Bowl prediction?
I would.
I'm taking Eagles by 2 touchdowns.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because it is the only way they can win.
They won't win a close game.
They're not going to win a close game. So receive the kickoff, go down the field, and go on every 4th down. Like you got to play this game where you're either going to win by 30 or lose by 30. So that's what I would do. And there's something against like, well, I'm not going to bet against them until they lose. But then you lose the time, you lose the time that you don't bet against them. Now you win all the other fucking 100 times. So you're rich, but
next week, all of the Super Bowl takes they're going to stay. It's a rehash of last year where it's like, well, this team A is so much more talented. The roster is so much better, well coached. But how do you bet against the quarterback at Team B? It was what it was last year. I would like to see if anybody else comes up with my take, where I think the Eagles need to just try to win the first quarter by 14 points. I just don't think you can get in a
one-score game. But you would always try to win the first quarter by 14.
But in a like overtly aggressive, almost obnoxious Dan Campbell would blush kind of way.
Just like a no huddle, just like
Yes.
2
No
minute
huddle,
2 minute
fake
offense.
punt. Just, start the game with 15 tush pushes. I mean, if it works that well, just fucking do it.
Let me ask you this. Not what you want to happen, what you think will happen. The NFL will ban the tush push this offseason.
No.
Or mm-mm.
No. And I got riled up about that with some caller.
I actually almost clipped it for Grant so he could hear you like absolutely lose your mind.
I walked away from the microphone to the other side of the room so I could yell so that it didn't get super picked up by the microphone.
But not until you had already yelled into the microphone and realized, oh shit, I probably just
And my whole problem with it is
want to get rid of the tush push.
You were gonna. It's like, so the shift. Remember, MLB got rid of the shift. So what they were doing to the Commanders was basically when we say, "Oh, beat the shift," just drop one down the left field line or the right field line. Drop one down. The NFL was saying, "Okay, but if you do that, we're gonna give them an out." They're penalizing the Commanders, and then the Eagles are like, hold on, like you're trying to draw them offside. It's just that was like even if the principle, whatever, that 10 minutes of football was by far the worst 10 minutes of football I have ever seen.
It was a bad TV product.
It was just so bad.
Yeah,
and imagine being there.
Mm-hmm. Well, except they kind of enjoyed it because then Hockey League Junior, like the announcement felt so. I want to do a viral thing, didn't it? Because even like the way that Hockey League Junior phrased was very like, we have warned them about this behavior.
If this behavior continues,
like, it was just very like aware, which again, like, it just felt like he wanted a moment. Hockey League did.
Of course he did.
Which makes sense because his dad loved having his own moments.
Yeah. What's that up to?
What's
the kid's name? Steve?
Sean
Hockey
League still. John Hussey, how long has he been doing this? Every time he turns on the microphone, it's like it's the first time he's ever spoken to more than 6 people. He always looks white as a ghost, like he stare at that spot. Like he looks like he's going to dump his pants every time. He's clenching. Like he's like bracing against like he's in a wind tunnel when he makes it. It really bothers me.
Who's the Super Bowl referee?
Isn't it Torbert?
He's doing it?
I don't know. I thought I saw a tweet about it. I can look it up, I guess.
I want to
Hockey League, though.
I can't find
like Torbert.
So did he do the AFC game? The AFC Championship game?
I don't know.
Isn't it weird though that you wouldn't choose one? I mean, if you take your 2 best crews and you put them on the AF and NFC Championship games, why wouldn't one of those presumed 2 best be the Super Bowl crew?
If I say a referee, can you in your head picture what he looks like?
Probably.
Yeah, of course.
Carl Sheffers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cleet Blakeman.
Oh, Cleet. I got Cleet. How about Land
Clark.
What about Brad Allen?
Yes.
Nope. I'm striking out on a visual of Brad Allen.
All right. Back to the Dan Shaney YouTube, folks. You guys see this?
Yeah.
There's Brad Allen.
Huge cheeks.
Okay.
Skinny neck. He looks like John Prine.
Trey Blake. Do we know him?
I don't think, not well. I mean, 3rd season as referee, so that makes sense.
He's also in his real life a software quality assurance manager.
So fucking sad.
Hold on. These guys should go full time. To do what? What are they doing the other 37 hours a week?
Who cares?
Practicing? Rereading the rule book?
Maybe.
To go full time makes no sense.
No, it does make sense.
There's Carl. There's Land Clark.
And by the way, is his full
Alan
real name?
Eck is new.
I don't know Alan Eck yet.
Adrian Hill, I don't know.
No.
New to taking pictures too, it looks like.
Hockley, John Hussey.
Oh my!
You gotta know Hussey. I mean, he's right away.
If you're dating a girl and you come home, dating a girl and you come home and her dad's John Hussey, or you're like, I'm just turning around. This ain't good.
I'm not dealing with this shit.
Alex Kemp.
No, I don't think I could have pictured him.
Clay Martin's a huge dork.
Clay Martin looks like a Slenderman.
Scott Novak
also looks like a Slenderman.
I don't know who that is.
Brad Rogers.
Are these guys the ones doing the Titans games every week? Is that like
Sean
Where's
Smith?
Torbs? Oh, there he is.
Ron Torvert.
Yeah, you got to know Ron.
Ron Torvert. Bill Vinovich.
I got a big bill.
Craig Rolstad. I don't know. A swing official. Bruce Stritsky, airline pilot.
Huh.
What are these guys
Bill
doing?
Vinovich is a CPA. What a stupid league.
Torvert's an attorney.
There's a lot of attorneys.
God, this is kind of stupid.
It is. It's very stupid.
Alex Kemp sells insurance.
I wonder if there's an Alex Kemp YouTube stream somewhere.
Dude, Alex Kemp's insurance ads have to be like the best.
All right.
Just have a bunch of ref puns.
Grant, did you answer the Lions' big step back? Too many coaches
I don't
left?
think they'll take a big. I don't really have much to add to what Bart said, other than I think Dan Campbell has been disrespected a bit because as Ben Johnson and his coordinators are preparing to leave, everyone's saying like, "Man, you wish you could keep Ben Johnson instead of Dan Campbell." You know, you hear a lot of that, and then Ben Johnson goes to the press conference in Chicago, and maybe this lands a certain way with me because I'm a Packers fan and owner. But he said, "Man, I enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year." It's
Well,
like,
that's,
okay,
that's the kiss of death.
and big
Although
talk
I got
for a
enough
guy who
Bears
isn't even
fans saying-
head coach.
You see,
know?
you see how many Bears fans are coming at me like, he didn't say Packers.
He said LaFleur.
It's the same fucking thing. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Why do I have to always be the one to tell you how stupid you are?
But like, don't you think it's a little disrespectful to the head coach? You're like, I enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice. You're like,
Yeah, these guys don't even know each other.
you weren't the
Do they
head
not?
coach. Like you're
Yeah.
writing checks for Dan Campbell to cash here in a way, right? And I just
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a little disrespectful to what he's built in Detroit.
Yeah.
My 2 cents on Detroit.
I'm going to say, big step back. Big step back. This current period, let's call it this 2-week period. This is the worst 2-week period in the sports calendar. Or
I'm glad we have the NBA trade deadline in there.
I guess. Yeah, that's fair.
I remember when the NBA trade deadline used to mean something. I would skip class at UWL to watch TV thinking Jimmy Butler could get traded today. And now these guys just ask for trades whenever they want. And if it doesn't happen, they just quit playing until it goes down.
Pretty much.
They got to do. They got to do something.
Okay.
This whole period, February, this period, even March, like to try to get up for a Kentucky UNC basketball game on CBS. I don't give a shit.
It's a tough period of time. It really is, especially when the Super Bowl doesn't have a lot of matchup flair.
I've gone from like not being interested in college basketball to outwardly having a disdain for it.
Oh, good. You've joined me now in the disdain department.
I don't like when it's on my TV.
Same.
Wisconsin's an electric factory this season. What are you guys talking about?
Welcome to the crew.
I don't even want to watch March Madness.
They make 15 threes a night and you walk away from the game saying, oh, that's kind of a down night for them.
It just does absolutely. And I love college football.
I also don't care.
But I've talked about that. I hate high school football. I think the culture is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I love high school hoops, dude. I love high school hoops.
Our media careers were born in those gyms, Bart.
I love high school hoops. But then college hoops fucking sucks.
The only people who don't like high school basketball are the folks that's never been to a Central Onalaska regular season game. They just never have experienced it.
Yeah.
What's Central? Man. Central what? What
Lacrosse Central.
Lacrosse Central.
Southside.
I should have assumed.
Did they merge?
I don't know. I'm kind of out on local politics there. They were possibly going to combine and then put it in the old train building, but that got shot down. And the north side got fucking pissed. They do not like the idea of their identity, their Ranger identity being taken away. A lot of yard signs.
Grant, what's the worst 2-week period in the sports calendar?
MLB All-Star break. This is fine. It's not the best. Losing NFL weekly content sucks, but
again, even in
the April, at least you get like the start of the MLB season, you get the NFL draft, you get free agency in March for the NFL. That can be fun. It can be fun.
But at least it's summer.
Oh, okay.
Like this period, this just cold shit period.
No games to look forward to. No games to look forward to.
And then I'll get into the UFL and no one will give a fuck.
So are you saying worst 2-week period in the calendar?
Yeah, remember for like 3 years they made it 1 week, like there was no break?
What, for the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago.
Why did we change that?
When was that?
Stretch it out. That was like in our adult lifetimes. Well, at least me and Bart's.
When was there no 2-week break before Super Bowl?
I'll ask Grok.
Yeah, Grok. Jesus Christ.
Gronk?
No.
Who can come up first, Jeeves or Grok?
I don't know. Jeeves is fucking dead. It was like the early 2000s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving me a bunch of shit I don't want. I
Yeah.
don't care. It's
They
too
wanted
complex.
to stretch it out another week, which I get.
Burned 6 gallons of water to search that. Didn't get what I was looking for.
Why don't you look at DeepSeek? What do they say?
I don't even know what that is. The computer generated images. You're a fucking child if you get any enjoyment out of that. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah,
oh, look at this picture of Rodgers in a Steelers hat.
Do you know how much of a menace I would have been if during college I had the AI technology to make it look like I was making out with any girl I wanted? Oh my God.
A public menace or a menace in that you would have had some good home cooking for your dorm room activities.
Little death cab for cutie. Little AI here. Little. We all know where I'm headed with this.
Last one that I gotta go. The Bucks should make a big trade before the deadline. Or mm-mm. In other words, Middleton, Portis, Connaughton out, someone of substance in. The Bucks should make a big trade. Or mm-mm.
I still think they can win with this team. I still
Can
think
can Middleton just show up once every 4 games? Is that enough?
Giannis and Dame look pretty good this week, even though they lost to Portland.
Yeah, that was fun. On national TV. Which matters more, whether you like it or not.
It does. It does.
Remember
I got
those
so
days?
pissed. Did you see the Embiid stat?
Did you talk about it nationally?
Yeah, in the last hour.
Good.
He has missed 47% of his games.
Crazy. 400 missed versus like 450 played.
It's one thing to know he misses a lot of time, but to see the numbers,
yeah,
where he is 3% away from missing half of all the games eligible to him.
So how much money has he made on
how many games has he played where he's like, gotta leave game?
Right. It doesn't even count the ones that he started but didn't finish. How much money did he make on those 400 missed games? Probably like 300 million, 250 million.
Yeah, he's made a lot of money. The thing that pissed me off the most was not that he went to Team USA, found a way on to get the gold, but then in international competition, he was trying to flop for NBA fouls. What a fucking loser.
You know, it's going to be actually really annoying. And I'm like really, really annoying. Maybe it shouldn't be, but it will be when he's announced for the Hall of Fame. Right. He's a Hall of Famer, and that's stupid. Fuck that. He missed half the games he played. He's a flop.
Probably a Hall of Famer. Like Chris Middleton, probably.
No.
Everyone makes a Hall of Fame.
I've never thought about that, but is that no?
I think he probably will.
Andre Iguodala got his number retired by Golden State.
Is Draymond obviously a Hall of Famer, Bart? Is that obvious?
Oh yeah, come on.
That sailed a while ago, right?
Yeah.
I think that, you know what though, if Middleton is close, if Draymond is definite, we need tighter standards. Like they should not. No, you're not. No.
Does any other Buck get their number retired besides Middleton and Giannis?
Probably not. Could Brooke?
Yeah, Brooke would be the one.
Yeah.
Do they need to win again?
Yeah, I think for Brooke to get it, you need one more.
Because Andre Iguodala got his retired, which means they have to retire Durant's. He won 2 Finals MVPs.
Maybe silly question. Can you have your jersey retired by 2 different teams?
Yes. Vince Carter just got it.
Michael Jordan.
The double. Well, okay, Jordan.
Yeah, the Heat retired Michael Jordan.
Heat culture. Spoelstra's doing well these days, by the way, Bart. Paul, super happy team down there.
Yeah, the culture's unbeatable.
Honestly though, Tyler Hero is actually like an all-star. They've got that rookie Ware who's good. No, he's doing. Spoelstra is doing just fine in his player development.
As long as we don't ever expect him to win anything at a high level without LeBron, Spoelstra is doing excellent per usual.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, start victory lapping CJ Stroud and what a massive regression he took this year. Move off of the Spoelstra thing and start flapping in people's face that you were right about.
You want me to? Because I'm ready for it.
You weren't right
I
about
asked,
Stroud.
I asked you guys a couple weeks ago, Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, who has the better career? Will it be Bryce Young? And I think we ended up with saying like the DNA strand thing where they're just always going to be 1A and 1Bing each other. But I'll take the Bryce Young answer right now.
Bryce
And maybe
Young
that's
has yet to get his offensive coordinator fired. Just something to consider.
Who's that?
Bryce Young has yet to get his offensive coordinator fired, which CJ Stroud just did.
Yeah, he did. And a Green Bay guy too, which makes it Slowick.
Okay, so what do you think for the Super Bowl? And then
well, the Bucs should make a big trade for me. I don't really have an opinion on the Super Bowl. Like, it's fine. Whatever.
I don't really care who wins.
I don't either. Maybe that's okay. Grant, you care? Like you'll be rooting for something.
Chiefs.
You want to see the history?
Yeah.
The first team ever
for 20 years by Patriots fans. Just respect greatness. Just appreciate greatness. I'm appreciating.
By the way, did you guys notice how far out of his way was that Nance went to say that Pat Riley had trademarked three-peat? Like he was like, he must have had a lawyer ready to like, if the Chiefs win, we're going to talk about three-peat. Make sure you credit Riley. Like
he trademarked it.
Pat Riley owns three-peat.
That's stupid.
You didn't know this?
No,
I saw it today.
That's why Nance, I think it was Nance, right? Kept saying like, as trademarked
Chief Pete.
Yeah, he tried to come up with something different because because the only way he could say three-peat was to say TM Riley, like essentially. He didn't, right? But yeah, Pat Riley owns three-peat.
Well, I own three-peat because when I was a soccer coach, we won the Fondy Cup 3 years in a row. And the final year was because of this insane goal that went like the kid started a kick to the right, then it went left, and I don't know how he did it, but his name was Pete. So we called it a three-peat.
Oh, but
P-E-T-E.
But yeah, but right. So I don't think Riley owns P-E-T-E.
No, I do.
Just like you came up with Black.
Do you guys know this about me? I'm a bitch boss.
Are you boss bitch?
Oh yeah, that one. All right. Thank you both for your services.
Bye, guys.
Appreciate you guys.
Paul, have a good week.
You too.
Grant, enjoy the Super Bowl.
He left you. Bye, Bart.
See ya. That's another episode of I do have a voicemail off the Carl's Place voicemail line that I would be thrilled to share with you. Where do we go on this one? We've got it, and I think it was from Dan. 402-915-BART. You can leave a voicemail. 402-915-BART. And this is about the history of the Packers winning those championships that have been eradicated from anyone's brain. And if I press play, you'll be able to hear it. Again, all I have to do is press play.
What's up, Bart? Hey, listening to your podcast today, your discussion about the history of the NFL, that got me riled up. I 110% agree with you. You can't erase history. You can't erase the NFL prior to Super Bowl I. It just doesn't make sense. On top of that, too, I want to add to what you were saying. All these teams, have their retired numbers, the retired players, the players that they have glorified for their entire existence. I can't help but think about Jim Brown, the Browns, and how much he is remembered, and how much of a difference he made for the NFL. And of course, he never played in the Super Bowl, but he's an NFL champion. It just doesn't make sense to take away from those players that, made a difference and, made the franchises who they are today. You go to Lambeau and you see all those retired numbers, especially like Curly Lambeau. He won championships as a player and as a coach, and it just doesn't make sense to take it away from them. hate to do it for any team, even the teams that have not made it to the Super Bowl yet, like the Browns or the Lions. Why celebrate them if they haven't made it to the Super Bowl? I mean, that's what everyone's going to say, or the average fan's going to say. Just because they haven't made it to the Super Bowl yet, their franchise is a piece of garbage. No, that's not the case. Also want to add to the Madden discussion about giving Rich Bisaccia, maybe a PlayStation controller and a copy of a Madden. I think we should all go to the draft in April and maybe just, hand deliver a few thousand copies of Madden to get into their heads, especially also Matt LaFleur, that they need to start playing Madden. They need to just sit down and take the summer off and play some Madden. Of course, attend training camp and whatnot, OTAs. But I think it's time that they just, take some time with their kids or friends or whoever, grab a beer, and just play some Madden. I think that'll help a lot. All right, take care.
You take care too, Dan. Appreciate the call. And of course, you grabbing the last pod. Yeah, we'll do something trade deadline-y next week. That would only be right. Thanks to Grant. Thanks to Paul. Thanks to Dan. Thanks to you. And thanks as always for stopping into the Winklerverse.